Well, good morning and thank you very much for joining us. I am Yori Folani. Hope you had a great weekend. And well, back to work. All celebrities, all salas, everything is over until the next year. So good morning, gentlemen. I'm talking about Mr. Libros Oshoma.
Good morning.
Good morning to you.
Ambarka de Sala.
Mr. Nobody should say that one again. No? We're back to work, Mr. Jide Logun. Good morning to you, sir.
Happy New Week.
Guys, indeed, thank you very much. Of course, there's been nothing in the air other than the southern governors, especially southwestern governors. They're coming together, they're meeting, the resolution. And the reaction, quite frankly, this is one of those kind of issues that has divided, if you want, the audience, the public audience. I don't know if it's right down the middle. I don't know, right down the middle. I don't know if it's a little to the right and a little to the left. That reminds a lot of people about IBB, who has also been speaking about this issue, but we're not talking about IBB right now. We're talking about quite frankly, the concern about national unity. Now, that also is a thing we've also heard statements about, that it's not even up for discussion. And many people are saying, what do you mean it's not up for discussion? Of course it's on the table. Of course it's up for discussion. And this is to the eternal annoyance of some people. When people
But they are
say
discussing it now. Even those that are telling you that it's not up for discussion are discussing it. Like when you hear there's no thoroughfare, it means that there is a way there.
Yes, but you're not allowed to pass it.
Yes, to pass it. So those that are telling you, that's why before they even start the discussion, they'll say the unity of Nigeria is non-negotiable. It is negotiable, and that's what actually they are negotiating. And that's why when the southern governors came together for the first time in a long while, after about 13 years, and some persons feel, oh no, this shouldn't be coming now, or oh, the fact that you're banning open grazing in the south without consulting, people who are involved in that trade, and all of that. It is the unity of Nigeria that is the underbelly of those discourse. And we can't, the more we keep running away from it, the more, you find these issues coming up at every turn. And
let me take it from there to hear from Jide. The more, just taking at random almost, one of the things he said, the more we keep running away from it, then the more these situations stay the way they are. First of all, if you endorse that statement, who are those that are running away from it?
Absolutely. I tie myself with that brilliant
So,
position.
therefore, who are those that are running away from this all-important question?
Those who should be driving the governance system, because the basic assignment of the government is to unite the people towards a goal. Our constitution says that the motto of Nigeria shall be unity and faith, peace and progress. And that is when you can have a prosperous nation. So you have to foster that unity. And unity itself is driven by trust. But we don't trust each other in the country now. And if the unity is not there, the faith in Project Nigeria cannot be there. That's why you see regional interest.
Yeah, but that statement you made, we don't trust each other now.
Yes.
First of all, do you believe that to be true? I mean,
it's obvious. The southern governors are banning open grazing. The northern governors are against it. That was what played out in 1953, when we were discussing our independence from the colonial masters. The southern sect said that we could go in 1956. The northern interest said no, as soon as possible. And that led to the Kano riot of May 1953, with several people killed. And we have not recovered from that disunity. So we have been having forced unity. And Amos 3:3 says, can two work together except they be agreed? The answer is no.
Okay, again, you see, this is the kind of thing that this whole situation has caused, the kind of conversation and the kind of tones that are evident, that we can hear. For instance, forced unity. That's a concept that, he chose to use, and that's because that's the way he sees it. And I dare say he's not alone. But true, it's been coming like that. He went back to 53, and till date, we have been getting on with our lives. So what has been going on all that while? have we been just shuffling and fumbling along, or, because in between, all governments want to say that they are doing everything that they can for national unity. They're trying their best. At least the current president is saying that, and the biggest problem we have is insecurity. And he says, if anybody cares to listen, that's what we're doing. We're not sleeping. So what's been going on?
You find out that every government had said that right from the word go. In the First Republic, there was a statement made by Dr. Nnamdi Azikiwe. He said, when two incompatible meet, they can coexist if only they agree to agree and agree to disagree. And if that statement was made as far back as 1959, and it means that, at that time, there were problems. In 1967, the Willings Commission, what was the Willings Commission about? To address the fears of the minority. So that means there's always been fear. And so what we've been basically doing is patching those fears. Oh, let's create states for the minority. And then we started creating states. But mind you, Awolowo said, if you create states until Ikene, my village, becomes a state, people won't rest. And that's where we'll be managing it, we'll be patching it. But the big issue is we are incompatible. Let's agree to agree and agree to disagree. We have not even sat down to talk about it. We say it is non-negotiable. It is not an area we should go. For me, people say we need a national dialogue. We don't need a national dialogue. We need personal, individual dialogue. Do you know why? Because people who are governing us didn't come from the moon. They are from amongst us. You find out that's why people will tell you, even you there, when you get there now, you do the same thing. Because our behavior, we need to begin to interrogate those our behavior vis-a-vis the states, the villages, the local government, and the federal government. Is it the same man, the same traditional institutions that is blaming the political institution that will also come and do the same thing at the village level? So it is the man at the local government level who is blaming the man at the state level that will repeat the same thing. The governors are saying that they need autonomy for the state, but yet they've refused local government autonomy for the local government. So if you like, pack all of them to Abuja and let them discuss all of this. The ones we have discussed before didn't yield any result. What we need, first and foremost, is that was why a lot of people rally around Buhari and they felt, okay, look, this man will kickstart that individual dialogue with self. And that's why people will say the change starts with you, you, self. And so once you have a leadership that believes that there must be consequences for every action, irrespective of who is involved, be it a Fulani man, be it a Juku man, be it an Orobo man, that will enable us to ask ourselves those burning questions. But we are not doing them.
Well, it looks as if we lost that opportunity, because just about everybody in Nigeria remember the very, very encouraging statement the president made in 2015. I'm not for everybody, I'm for nobody, and I'm for everybody, and that kind of a thing. Before that, I think things along the lines of no matter whose ox is God. But a lot of people who are diehard loyalists have since had reason to shift their, quite frankly, their faith. Their faith.
You see, I think
in Project Nigeria.
The focus here is management of our resources. No matter how divergent or diversified we are, Nigeria is blessed. And I think the issues that begin to prompt minority mindset, marginalization, is the fact that our resources have not been maximally engaged for the benefit of all. And that is why the issues
when you say resources, you're talking about our differing areas of comparative advantage. Is that what you're saying?
Is composite.
Because people are saying that even the reference to Awolowo's warning that you go the state's way until Ikene is a state in the distant future. Don't be very, very.
Why does Ikene want to become a state? So that we can have electricity, so that we can have good education, so that we can have the health facilities, so that we can have.
So why would Ikene have wanted to become a state?
Exactly, it is to have access to good life. We are talking of the diversity of Nigeria. Is Nigeria as diversified as the United States of America? Is the mindset of the New Yorker the same as the mindset of the Texan? The man in Washington, D.C. is more refined. You know, but you realize that in the 50 states in the U.S., the government came up with the responsibility approach that we must provide electricity. We must provide economy. Look, a good economy. Look at the last COVID-19 pandemic. Look at how the government responded by caring for entrepreneurs and the citizens. So we are discussing here that what are the benefits for the people? And when we begin to discuss nepotism, let's ask a simple question on this table right now. Put the institutions of Nigeria on the table, then try to balance it on the platform of national character. What do we have? You see, we have a country where some are investing so much in education and some are probably supporting those who are fighting education. You need to ask questions. The essence of unity is that we have a common goal, we have a common direction we are heading, and we want to achieve a vision. What is a vision? Prosperity for the people.
Is it going unnecessarily backwards when one recalls that this whole problem, this whole Nigerian situation, let me not call it a problem, this whole Nigerian situation, at the end of the day, you got to hand it to the British. They are the people that didn't understand what exactly they were enforcing, empowering, and enabling at the time. And so we are now left to pick up the pieces and make our diversity work, which is the way it is.
No. They left us long ago. Even at that point, at the point of leaving us, were the politicians able to manage those diversities? Because of selfish interests. Why didn't Nnamdi Azikiwe form an alliance with Obafemi Awolowo to form the first government? Why? Was it the British that refused them forming an alliance? No. They shared almost the same ideology in terms of education, in terms of infrastructural development, in terms of youth empowerment. But for personal and selfish reasons, they decided no. This one said...
Now, when you use the word personal and selfish, you're not talking about these individuals themselves, because they were political leaders on behalf of a political movement.
Exactly.
So this is what those movements, whatever you want to call them now, dictated. So it's not so much Azikiwe as a person.
No, not so much as those individuals as persons, but their movement. And so... just imagine if you had, at that time, you had Azikiwe, who was driving education in the southeast. You had Obafemi Awolowo, who was driving education in the southwest. And so if they had come together to form an alliance, a government at the center, it would have been different today. And that is why today you see that, you know, the moment that the southern governors are meeting, some persons who, though the northern governors have been meeting, and there is no problem about it. For the first time, these southern governors are meeting, and it is causing problems, you know, up north, because this political movement, there's an aim to keep the status quo the way it is for the benefit of a certain person. And so, for the first time in a long while, you had a president who everybody, like you said, he came and said, I belong to nobody, I belong to everybody. And everybody saw him as, this man is going to unite all of us and then make sure that we have faith in the entity called Nigeria. But he came. And remember that, some people voted for him 97%, others didn't vote for him, others voted for him 5%, and so he wasn't going to treat them the same. And true to type, you saw him treating those people who he perceived to have given him 97% that way. And then the rest, typical, asked the pastor, felt, we do not have a stake in your entity, in this entity called Nigeria. So since we don't have a stake, allow us to go.
What I said the other time about it's not Abubakar Tafawa Balewa, it isn't Sadano Sokoto, it isn't Azikiwe individually, but really airing the position of the movement they had. In this case, is it different?
It's different.
You think this was different?
Yes, this is different, because if it wasn't an individual decision, you would have seen that the president, because the APC was, you know, a congregation, an amalgam of people from the west, a few from the southeast, you know, a few from the middle belt. But he came and said, whatever my party said, it is my party that said it. I wasn't the one that said it. So this is what I am saying. And so, true to type, You saw him acting that way. Even his party, at some point, some people felt, look, we can't continue this way. And so to that, when you don't give people a sense of belonging in a diverse environment, and they're also not seeing the even distribution of wealth and opportunities, because we now have this mindset of belief that it is only when my person is there that it will get to me. And that's why, even that's why I told you we need individual dialogue. Quickly, sorry, Jide, because the Obasanjo's presidency, I didn't see the good he did to the average Otaman.
You know, I was going to say that myself, because it's good you've taken it out of my mouth.
Jonathan's presidency did not advance or develop.
Yeah, Obasanjo never cared for any of that.
But apart from a few persons, in the same vein, even President Buhari's tenure is only benefiting a few persons. Go to Katsina, go to Daura, poverty is still prevalent there. But we have reduced this whole thing to when my person is there. That is why even at the local government level, it is this man that ruled the last time is from this area. This other person should come from this area now.
So it's not about merit.
We need to address those questions and bring back that faith we once had in the entity. Otherwise, even if we separate, those problems are still going to rear their ugly heads.
People, for instance, looking at what they said, the communique that was released by the southern governors, among other things, first of all, they've said that there's no going back on the ban on open grazing. Yes, I think we heard some people saying that, why did they go and speak so definitely without, consulting? That's to one side. But the question I really wanted to ask is that, take Michael Ezekoma, SAN. He is an activist and a constitutional lawyer. I've read him saying that, in his view, the whole matter about a national dialogue is unnecessary, in that it's been done. Your views on that?
Exactly. I was on that platform, and I'm still considering it, because we have 109 senators, 360 House of Reps members. And I think the 2014 confab, about 7 billion was earmarked for it, about 3 months project, with about 492 representatives representing the interests of Nigeria. And we came up with a resolution. So why can't we implement that? And that is why
they allege that it hasn't been touched since it was submitted.
That is, you see, we are wasteful as a people.
No. Let me
say this. But I want to challenge Nigeria that you can solve the problems of Nigeria on Google. If you go on Google, you can learn about national security. What is national security and defense? The security and the defense of the nations, the citizens, the infrastructure, and the institutions.
But I want
creation of wealth. And in this country, bandits will go into a region, kill 200 human beings, you set up a panel. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous.
Okay, what I wanted to bring.
So we spend so much.
What I wanted to bring up.
We need healing, sir. You tar a 4-kilometer road, and you spend 1 billion naira to congratulate people in the newspapers, to commission it. I mean, these people travel abroad.
Yeah.
Let's go back home, and now we can see the results of fighting education. You can compare it with when a leader generated free education. Compare notes and ask yourself, are you going forward or backwards? And for the Britons who colonized us, congratulations to them. They left us with mental colonization. And that is why, my president, we go to the UK for medical checkup. If the doctors in the UK were on strike, where would he have gone? Saudi Arabia, where?
Okay, let me pick up on that issue. Let me pick up on, what was that thing that you brought up? The whole matter about it might not be necessary to hold a national confab because it's been done as recently as 2014, and it was copious in its recommendation. Not one single one of them of which has been put to any kind of use or further processing. So all those that were involved are alleging that it's been just put in a drawer and forgotten about there. What's that all about in your mind? Because this was not done for the individuals that did it. It was done on behalf of all of us. And then there's been this concerted, I don't know whether to call it a conspiracy of leadership, to leave it right there in the drawer.
And that's why I said that we need individual dialogue within us, first and foremost.
Okay.
Look at, you are vying to govern a country, a state, a local government. You make promises and say, I get to office, I will do A, B, C, and Z. Forget about whether the people will question you or whether they will interrogate those your promises. Within you, ask yourself, can I achieve all of this? These things, like you have the rotary four-way test of the things we think, do, or say. Is it truth? Is it fair to one concern? Will it bring goodwill and friendship? And I remember those days, anytime I drive through Maryland, I see that rotary symbol, and I read that sign. It was like pricking my conscience consistently. And I ask myself, anything I want to do, is it fair to this other person? Will it create further goodwill? If I see this person tomorrow, will I be able to stand and say? So,
okay, so,
if you
that's part of the personal dialogue that you're talking about, that we need to have.
That we need to have. So, if you have a president, for example, who believes that everybody voted for you, whether everybody voted for you or not, now you are the president of the entire country. And so, you sit down and say, how do I ensure that I unite? Mind you, we're talking about unity and progress. Unity and faith, peace and progress. How do I unite people so that they will have faith in this entity to engender peace and progress? But the moment you are not able to, your plans and programs are not able to unite the people, whether at the local government level, at the state level, or at the federal level, you are going to have this discordant tune. But like Jide said, why would I want to listen to a man who is preaching divisiveness if I'm carried along as a people in the plans of government? Nobody will listen to. They will simply tell you, forget, you lost out when you were there. What did you do? That is why the likes of IBB today can come up and begin to advise government. That is why Obasanjo can write letters. That is why Goodluck Jonathan can criticize. Because it gets worse every day.
And part of that getting worse, look at strides that this administration is making, talking about the railways. I'm sure you would have seen pictures circulating on social media showing sabotage to rail tracks. I think some of them up north, some of them in the Niger Delta. Forgive me if I make a mistake as to the exact location, but that these kind of things are being done. I mean, we're not. I was telling a friend that sent them to me that if this is true, because social media is what it is,
we are part of the problem.
If this is true, what's going on? Because this reminds me, during the Second World War, we read about the French resistance, who were going around doing this kind of thing so that the Nazis would not have a free reign at all, and
See, I said it at a time.
So we are doing. So what's going on there? We're doing these things to ourselves. We really have a nice and naughty mess on our hands, don't we?
There is no society that is free of crime, but the control mechanism can be better.
Crime is one thing.
It's of
public utility.
That is the principal crime. But I'm coming to a place. Now, when we were talking about radicalization of Boko Haram and de-radicalization, I said we are not paying attention to the fact that the government policy is radicalizing the citizens. An economy that needs 500 naira to purchase $1. An economy that the minimum wage is $6. And Apple is $5 in the US. We have radicalized citizens who will start ventilating. In HR, we talk of emotional ventilation.
I just wanted to clear
by
that.
attacking the facilities of the government. Let me tell you,
you were talking about the fruit when you mentioned Apple. You are not talking about the computer company.
No, food now.
I just,
you now see an economy that is operating with about 18% inflation. An economy that is threatening the citizens, that you will have to pay more for electricity. Even when you pay and you don't enjoy the value of what you have paid, you find policies that are not emotionally connecting with the aspirations of the people. You open the news, you see how many businesses have shut down. And by the way, we are concentrating on the governors.
But on that line of thought of yours, it has been put to the president. The president actually allows foreign journalists to ask him more questions than he allows us. But it's been put to him by foreign journalists, and he said, when you can't afford it, what can you do?
When you cannot afford what? and they can afford to enjoy all the largesse of office. You see, some of us have been to places, you know, governors, locations, presidential villa, and things like that. You see, I mean, find out how much do your senators earn in Nigeria. How much are the people in NNPC earning? NNPC was established on the 1st of April 1977. What value have we gotten? We have 4 refineries that are moribund, and we are spending billions on them. All right, and what the latest was $1.5 billion for a turnaround. When a nation like America, for instance, has about 135 functional refineries. So I think our poverty, our crises are deliberate. They are deliberate. Because if not, then how do we define government? I mean, sir, what is the essence of government?
This effort of Southwestern governors to address the question of crime, which they feel that government, the way our government is configured, you know, it's done its best, as the president keeps on saying, but it isn't good enough. Well, now, wait a minute, sir. Wait a minute, please, because we've been talking, I don't know, largely it would appear that I'm hearing what the voices from the South and Southwest are feeling about it. I'm not saying that you're actually representing anybody, but it'll be interesting, and that's why, you know, Alhaji Hassan, a regular contributor, he's also on the line. He's an opinion molder. Alhaji Hassan, good morning.
Good morning, Mr. Yori, and good morning, Nigerians.
Okay. It's that thing that happens from time to time. We can see you. Can you hear me, please?
I'm hearing you.
Can you hear me well? Okay.
I'm hearing
so the only problem left is that when somebody comes into the studio is empty right now. But carry on, please. I wanted to ask you give me your impressions on, you know, quite frankly, a lot of toeing and froing of opinions as a result of the resolve of the Southwestern governors to, among other things, ban, for example, you know, open grazing of cattle and all of that. Give me your thoughts on that, because I've heard 1 or 2 opinions. What is your opinion as it is relating to this effort of Southern governors to protect their citizenry?
My own opinion about it is very clear. It's as good as my opinion in relation to subsidy. There's nothing wrong with subsidy, but there are a lot of wrongs with the fraud that goes with the subsidy. There's nothing wrong with grazing, but there are a lot of things that went wrong with the criminalities that goes with the grazing. Anything security is welcome. Anything that will improve the security of Nigerians is welcome. But my reservation about the governors is this. I can see them reducing themselves by beginning their questions with answer. Now, they are now coming together to go and see Mr. President after their meeting in Asaba. What was supposed to be the first thing to do? To see the president one-on-one, express themselves before the president, let them get to see the eye contact, let them have a first-hand feedback from Mr. President. Then, whatsoever, you cannot come out and give your own press briefings. But unfortunately, I can see the governors behaving as people that are far away from Mr. President. Because I had the press briefing.
Alhaji Hassan, one moment, please. I was under the impression that they've put their case before the presidency, you know, severally. And I thought that was a matter of public knowledge. It's not as if they've done anything that the president can claim to be surprised about, because to my mind, it was ultimately in frustration that they said, you know what, let's meet among ourselves and then we'll go back again.
Mr. Yori, insecurity is a problem of all Nigerians. I don't have problem with anything that will improve the security of lives and properties of Nigerians all over the country. What I'm attacking here is the methodology.
Okay, is the method.
Is the methodology.
Okay, and you're now beginning to hear language. You're beginning to hear language such as that there is no going back on open grazing, according to one of the governors.
Allow me to say it. Never say never. It's about security. If grazing will guarantee security, be it. If open grazing will create a state of insecurity, please, I'm in support of it to go. We should let it go.
Okay, Alhaji, one moment. I'll bring that idea to studio. Libros, you first.
Yeah, you see, let's leave out sentiment from this problem of insecurity. That's why we will not progress.
What do you refer to as sentiment?
If in area where there is crisis, there is crisis, the first thing you do, you say, everybody sit at home so that we can identify troubled spots and then be able to keep those places safe, then before we can now say, go back. These are steps that you take. These are security steps. So if people are disguising as headers to wreak havoc in the community, and it's becoming impossible for you to identify who is a genuine one and who is a criminal, the first thing you do, you say, everybody stop this open movement of cattle, so that we'll be able to profile and keep the environment safe, know the troubled spot, identify them, and know how to go about it. The only area I blame the governors is the fact that they have not invested in civil defense security and vigilante security. That's the way I blame them. But for to say that they should go and sit Mr. President in a federation.
Okay, but Jide, what do you think about the ideas of Alhaji Hassan?
I think I want to bring it to the local level.
Yeah.
I cannot imagine having a governor who has all the security apparatus, convoy, and coming out to tell me I must wind down my car glass when I drive through Lagos traffic. No, I have a responsibility to protect myself. You see, we are being distracted. Nobody is talking about grazing of cattle. They have been grazing cattle, by the grace of God, above 50. That we have seen. What about the crime associated with it? And again, let's look at something. Now, I am a lawyer by the grace of God. So if lawyers now decide that every state we go to have a case, we must kill people before we leave there, are you now saying you will say, allow lawyers to be everywhere? No, we are not evaluating the insecurity appropriately. So right now we are just giving nicknames to those who are overrunning Nigeria.
Yes.
We call them bandits. Sheikh Gumi came out recently to tell us that the students with the kidnappers are still there because bandits are collaborating with Boko Haram. Who is Boko Haram? Who is bandit? Where did Boko Haram start? The Boko Haram started in the northeastern part of the country. It's spreading to the whole nation now. And we must fold our arms. I credit the governors. Because if the federal government wants to be highly responsible, then let there be state apparatus. Let the governor have his own inspector general of police at the state level to secure his people. But in a place where you hold the control of the security agencies at the federal level, and you are now appealing to the people to accommodate destructive elements, no reprisal attacks. I say no to that. I say no to that. So everything the governors can do to secure their people, bring prosperity to their people.
I hear what you're saying, but I also
must be done.
But what I'm hearing Alhaji Hassan say is, at your conclusion that he's in line with you. But I think he's also implying that the country belongs to all of us.
Definitely.
And there are ways. We have our different ways.
Remember, I agree with you.
Wait, sir, because I'm going to hand it back to him. He's listened to you and then to you. And so I just wanted, and so he is saying that should all these criminal, consequences of headsmen and all of that, he is absolutely against that like any other Nigerian.
But that they should go and see the president first.
Well, I don't know. Alhaji Hassan, back to you.
Okay, Mr. Yodi, please, sentiment apart, whenever we are talking Nigeria, we should be focused and not to be distracted. We are talking Nigeria here. I don't need a passport to be in Lagos. You don't need a passport to be in Enugu or to be in Kano. So please, we should have what we call a holistic approach, a patriotic approach.
Wait, Alhaji, you are the person saying that we should take care not to be distracted. What you've just said, you don't need a passport to be in Lagos or anywhere else in the country. Yeah, of course, as long as you're not, herding something like 150 cattle along simply because of that passport. You understand what I'm saying? That is where people are saying it's a special situation.
You know what? Desperate situations require desperate action. I'm not against the actions. You understand? What I was against, it was the methodology applied by the governors. You understand?
That is meeting among themselves and making a statement on their meeting.
Yes. The president is the president of all. Is the commander-in-chief of the armed forces of Nigeria.
But how about the federating units aspect?
The officer of the nation.
How about the federating units aspect?
Are chief security officers of their respective states.
But you've been on this program before, and I know you are fully aware of the federating aspects of our beloved country.
I know. Mr. Yori, anything that will guarantee the safety of life and properties of Nigeria, I am for it.
Okay, but let it come from the mouth of the president. Did I understand you?
The methodology here is this. Why a meeting in a Asaba before going for a meeting with president? Why not go to the president first? Why? Let everybody bears you witness that you had one-on-one meeting with Mr. President.
Okay.
And you come out with your communique.
I get you clearly.
And secondly, I criticize them for this issue, for tabling this issue of Apapa Grillo. Apapa Grillo should not be a matter for them. Apapa Grillo matter is an issue of corruption fighting back. Lagos State government and federal government can handle this.
Okay.
You don't need to take it to a regional level.
I get you, Alhaji. So I have a better grasp now of your admonition. Let us not distract ourselves.
But quickly,
yes, please.
Please, in Lagos State, there are rules, there are traffic offenses here that if you go to Abia, does not apply. So do you now say that because of the peculiar way of driving in Lagos, so do you now condemn the Lagos State government for making law banning one-way driving and driving on certain part of the road because they had not gone to see the president? And that no, the issue, everybody drives. The question here is
I
the
don't
insecurity.
Think, I'm not a spokesman. It's not about without going to see the president. I think he's trying to say, Alhaji Hassan, that there are provisions, there are parameters, there are right channels.
We all heard Alhaji. The issue is this: the president is the commander-in-chief.
Yes.
If the president were up and doing, you would not see people sitting down at regional level finding solution to problems that he ought to have solved in the first place.
And again, let's coast it home. The Northern Governors meet. Then I hope I'm not getting the impression that you must meet the president one-on-one before he knows what is happening in his country.
Yeah.
Then I'll be asking myself, all the advisors, numerous advisors
what are they doing?
that collect the taxpayers' money, what do they do? And talking about Apapa gridlock, I think I agree with Alhaji. If Lagos State cannot liberate the economy of the state from the economic banditry that we are experiencing, which is historical also.
What they said was other ports in other regions should also...
It's a business concern. Apapa port is in the southern part of the country.
Established and developed so that it will ease
the load on Lagos.
Exactly.
Let me bring in Phillips. Good morning. Phillips calling in from Ikorodu.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning, Mr. Phillips.
Good morning. Philip calling from Ikorodu.
Mr. Philip, okay. Go ahead, please.
Yeah. I thank you, everybody in the studio there. Thank you, Mr. Liboros and Mr. Jide. And
Alhaji Hassan.
my own contribution is this. From the perspective of how Alhaji is looking at it, my take is this. I don't think it's logical for the governors to first of all go to Abuja and meet with the president. It's a local issue within their domain. It's after they must have met, discussed about the way forward. They cannot go to the president. Everybody do their own business in their different region. Nigeria is even a small country when it comes to ranching and or cattle rearing. What is the number of cows in Nigeria compared to Argentina, Brazil, and other countries of the world? That we use your own to inconvenience others. How many people are selling things on the street that we use to inconvenience you?
Okay, Philip.
Somebody carrying hundreds of cattle on somebody's farm.
So
people are living on loan to make sure they survive with this farming stuff.
So as far as you see, thank you very much for calling in, Philip. I'm sorry to interrupt you, but what you're saying, it's clear, is that it's a local issue, and so you feel that the governors have every right to deal, locally. Deal with it locally. Alhaji Hassan, that's one viewpoint for you. That,
Mr. Yori?
Yes, sir.
When the governor Akeredolu of Ondo State came up with this issue of people should come and register and about the security in his own state, I was in total support of him. I came on TVC to support him as a person with an absolute right to do whatsoever as within the confine of law as far as his own state of Ondo is concerned. Because he is the chief security officer of the state. But the way I'm looking at it, people are misconstruing what I've just said. And that will never bamboozle me to change my stand. I stood against the methodology of this regional grouping first, before meeting Mr. President. My own here is this. I stood to be corrected.
But wait a minute, Alhaji Hassan, what would you say to their notion, and here I'm really sticking my neck out now, their notion that Mr. President has not done anything for us and our situation?
Let me tell you what you don't know. Mr. President has not done anything for the whole country, not even you. You understand? So he has not done it for the whole country, not for a region. Stop looking at it from that angle. Northern, Southwest is much more threatened than any other region as far as insecurity is concerned now.
And yet we should go to the same president. And yet you are saying, yet you are implying that he hasn't done anything in those places either.
Let me say it all. Since the abduction in Kaduna of the Greenfield School and the Institute, the Afaka, have you had President coming out to say anything?
And then we should go to the same president.
Yeah,
our president
but do you see
not a podium?
But it's a bit peculiar. Alhaji Hassan, isn't it therefore a bit peculiar what you've just said, and against what you said a little bit earlier, that you would have wanted them to go still to the same situation? We don't know what's going on, but we've heard, Mr. Additional of the presidency say that, look, that's his style. He doesn't engage in that kind of a way with the people, the way you might see it being done in other areas. But hold on for a moment, sir, while I take on Reverend Dominic, who's been standing by. Good morning, Reverend Dominic.
Hello.
Hello, Dominic.
Okay, good morning, Yori.
Good morning. Thank you for calling in.
Yeah, Yori, let me take this discussion in one beach. Let me take the beach of above done. Okay, the government concern. Yori, this government which I'm part of, and I use that question. This government I voted for has not done anything. It's like blackmailing itself. Yori, let me give you this information. Information. When there was a formation of APC, that CPC, that Buhari has been winning by 11 million and cannot become a president. One of the agreements in APC, I will not mention the name, is that when we were to support the CPC from the north, in quote, that Lagos will be granted a special status. Immediately after the election 2015, we went to National Assembly for that particular issue. Our brother from the north shouted down. Now, what do they mean? That nations cannot progress by its own structure. Now, Asaba today have become a big problem. Even Asaba is serving North Sokoto, Asaba is serving Katsina. Because people who use fuel in Katsina, they don't come all the way from Katsina to Asaba. The people who use fuel in Sokoto, they come to Asaba. But when they come to grant a social status, our brothers from the north and the Buhari, let me use the word, which I voted for, and we trusted him, shut it down. Today we're having that crisis. That's right away. If we're discussing security like this, it makes me sad. That people die every day, and we're discussing whether it's going to be right or wrong. Invoke the necessity, doctor of necessity, for the whole state to say, let's have a state police. Remember, I'm against it before. But the advantage now is as well disadvantage. If governments will use it against the political place, let it be. But let's have a state police that will fight this nonsense.
Okay.
If some people in the north
Reverend.
yes.
Okay, Reverend Dominic, thank you very much for calling in. It's quite frustrating to anybody because we seem to be going around in circles.
Yes, that's why for me, the only area I agree with Alhaji is the fact that, yes, the governors need to meet and come up with a blueprint. Even if they are going to see president, this is what we have decided. And not go to see him first and he now says, okay, what do you want to do? You say, let us meet, then we'll get back to you. And then also, that's where I say I agree with him, where I said, the governors, we need to ask them, what are they doing in terms of investing in vigilante security? Because quickly, nobody can police Agege more than the man in Agege. You can't police Anegbete, my village, more than those people. In December, when the community learned that some young boys were attacking vehicles that were coming home, they formed a vigilante, and then those of us in the cities donated money, bought a vehicle for this vigilante group so that we can come home in peace. Until date, they patrol these areas. So what are the governors doing to invest in those local vigilante group? We talked about Amotekun. Amotekun, you give them baton. We were debating, should they carry arms or not? How do you expect a man with a baton to arrest a man with AK-47 in the bush?
And that raises a question from my mind.
I'll come to you as soon as I have Mazi Okorafor on the line. Good morning, Mazi.
Good morning, sir. Good morning, the ladies and gentlemen in the studio, Mr. Dibros and the Robert.
Mazi, I do too.
Now, you see, the governor accredited the last national conference, or you may call it town hall, or anything you may call it, at least, it's a welcome development, 100%. Now, the question is this. The governors have to go back to the drawing board, the roadmap, because 80% of states or 90% of states, the local government chairmen and councillors were purely based on what do they call it? Appointment, not properly election conducted. If Nigerian governors had properly elected chairmen and councillors, all this rubbish cannot happen in all the local governments in this country. Because the local government is not well protected by the councillors and the chairmen of the local government. Now, we have to be very careful. In our part, we have agents running for all these Boko Haram, all these terrorists, all these criminals. One thing we have to know is this. If local government chairmen should start now, arrange themselves, all these vigilantes, organize them, let the local government chairman authority within themselves and the elite within them arrange themselves with their own and be paying this, but they have morning, afternoon, and evening. If the local government chairman can try as much as possible, penetrate the forest, even forest, so-called even for which are based to all this will be a bygone story. But I don't know why people are afraid of entering the bush. This is your local government. Like I told my man, I said, look, this is our own local government. I cannot come and put burglary things by the window. It's not possible. If I go outside the state to stay and start putting water. I come to my own village and say, I will not do that.
Okay.
They will look at me and say that that's governors, they have just the government, they have already destroyed the state.
Okay, Mazi, thank you very much for calling in. I got to interrupt you at this stage. So sorry, but thank you very much. Jide, yes, you were going to say something.
Let me flow from your brilliant line of thought, Mr. Laborious. Now, we are talking of vigilantes confronting bandits, unknown gunmen, who have Hiluxes mounted with rocket launchers, you know. So how do you, and you now have a, security apparatus managed by the federal government that as a governor, you cannot even give instruction to the commissioner of police. He can be removed by midnight and someone else is brought. I think we need to go back to the trust capital. We don't trust each other in Nigeria. We don't have the sense of unity. And as long as we don't address it, it's going to address itself. So it's either...
When you said bandits in, with Toyota vans, with rocket-propelled something on them, those ones are not bandits. Those ones clearly have to be terrorists.
We are the ones giving them nicknames.
Yes.
Nicknames.
Yes.
Who is a terrorist?
Who brought them in?
A man
Our
who
president said they came from Libya or from wherever.
Two people with guns came and sacked a village, and then you see whether they are mounting trucks or not, they've terrorized that village.
Exactly. Alhaji Hassan, since you are on online there, I wanted to just get your closing thoughts on this whole matter. You've been very, very clear about it.
Please, let me clarify one issue. What I say, there was no contradiction in what I said.
It's another case.
What I meant here is this. President is not a podium frequenting president. It's not a president that talks so much. I'm not saying it's not a performing president as far as security is concerned. So no contradiction whatsoever.
Okay, all right. Well, thank you very much. Alhaji Hassan, we're going to have to leave it there, and I want to thank you very much for making time for us this morning out of your schedule. Thank you very much, Alhaji Hassan there. Thank you, sir. Did I have someone on the line?
Yes, Uncle Yori, yes.
Mr. Kesandu, thank you very much for holding on.
Thank you very much.
I just got about 1 minute left. Carry on, please.
Let me appreciate the southern governors for waking up to this primary responsibility of protecting the lives and properties of the people. If Alhaji has agreed with us that Mr. President has not performed in this responsibility, what is the essence of meeting them? Are you saying that these people cannot hold tenaciously to the men in protecting the lives and properties of the people? Aside the security reasons, economically, if we have ranches, we have better cows. We will save these people from this walking about everywhere. Our cows will be more productive. Please, let us support these governors. Anybody who is against what the governors have said, they have 10 points agenda. Why are we only focusing on this? Open grazing has been banned all over the world. Nobody's practicing this archaic practice again.
Thank you very much, Kesandu. I'm going to have to interrupt you because actually you've managed to end our program. Now there's no even chance for last thoughts from studio.
We need 1 minute or 30 seconds.
Oh yeah, 30 seconds. I can do 30 seconds.
Like we all agree, security, it's a personal thing. And so I do not believe that somebody will need to go seek permission of a governor. Like in my estate, we don't need the permission of the governor to employ private security to guard our estate. So also, the governors do not need the permission of Mr. President to guard their region.
Let
them continue with more
meetings. 30 seconds. So your own is now reduced to 15 seconds.
No, mine was for 23 seconds.
A secured nation can only boast of prosperity. And a nation that is insecure will remain a slave to poverty. We want Nigeria to prosper.
I want to thank you very much, Mr. Jide Ologun, lawyer and public affairs analyst, Mr. Libros Oshoma, lawyer and social commentator, and indeed, as I said earlier, thanked Alhaji Hassan, who joined us remotely. Thank you very much all. And that's our program today. Please join us tomorrow for a fresh edition. I'm Yori Fulani. Bye-bye for now.